What if you knew the exact words to say to get your ex to forgive you, and not only that, thank you profusely? Hello, this is Ashley from ashleykay.com, where I reveal the raw and naked truth on relationship success. So in this video, I wanted to share with you my simple 3-step process to get your ex to forgive you even if you screwed up badly. So if that sounds good to you, you'll want to pay attention to this video. Step number 1, make sure you really are sorry. Okay, there is a difference, although slight, between being sorry for hurting the other person and being sorry for your actions. If you were to just say, I'm sorry for hurting you, it's easy for anyone to be sorry about hurting the other person and how we never intended to hurt the other person. But it's not that effective because that doesn't necessarily mean you learn from your mistake and that you're actually sorry for your actions. So to be truly sorry about your actions, you may have to go into that deep place with yourself and really understand what made you do what you did. Okay, why did you do it? And why would you do it differently next time? These are the kind of thinking that you should be thinking about. Step number 2, get raw and honest with yourself. Okay, similar to the last point, if you're going through it and you're trying to come up with the words to say to your ex, if it doesn't sound ugly, then it's probably not the honest truth. Okay, so here's the reality. The reality is most people don't like hearing the truth, but if it's ugly, then we know at least it's the truth. And being truthful with one another is one of the first steps to rebuilding the trust in your relationship. And trust is really, really important in a relationship, right? So most of the time, if you made a mistake or your ex isn't talking to you, it's probably because you broke that trust between you. You may have to really figure out, what were the thoughts, the feelings, the things that were going through your head that you were trying to hide from your ex. And typically, those are the things that are going to sound ugly. Okay, if it doesn't sound ugly to you, then you're probably still sugarcoating it a bit too much, still trying to protect your ex from the truth because you don't want to hurt them. But that's where, in this case, if you're wanting that apology to really be effective, it needs to sound ugly. And step number 3, use clear and direct communication. So where a lot of people can screw this up when they're actually giving the apology and they're in the middle of saying they're sorry is when they flip back and forth between saying they're sorry and making excuses for their behavior. So, for example, if I was to say, I'm so sorry, I screwed up, I messed up, I know I did the wrong thing, but I was just under so much stress at work, and you were dealing with your stuff and I was feeling neglected and I feel like I couldn't come to you because I was afraid at what you're going to say, and this other person was there at the office and they were giving me attention and making me feel good, so blah 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 blah, right? So you can see you can very easily end up starting to excuse your behavior, and it almost sort of sounds like, okay, what this sounds like to your ex is, I'm sorry for my behavior, but I'm not really that sorry because, as you can see, it's justifiable, So really, you should be feeling sorry for me. So if you find yourself going down that excuse train of trying to gain empathy from your ex, then that's where it's really going to kill your apology, because I think a lot of people have it confused that when you're trying to be sorry, you're also trying to gain empathy, which is actually the opposite. So when you're really sorry for your actions, you're down here and your ex is up here, okay? So you have to be the one to, you have to put your ego aside. It's not a power it's not a power game at this point, okay? It's not you still trying to maintain some kind of power and still trying to be like, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm still a little bit right, okay? You can't have it both ways because that's going to really muddle up the communication. Not only that, even if your ex was to feel empathetic towards you for that moment, their self-preservation will kick in a second later and be like, okay, but hang on a second, what about me? Like, what about my feelings? Okay, it's great that you were feeling like this, but what about the way you made me feel and how that was unfair on me? Okay, you don't want your ex to be thinking that in their head, because even though they may accept that apology in the moment, they probably won't really accept it inside because of that, the conflict of information there, okay? And the last tip I want to give is make sure the words coming out of your mouth is congruent with your facial expression, your tonality, your body language. You know, everything should be in alignment, okay? So if you're saying you're sorry and in the midst of it you start smiling or laughing, chuckling, you know, or something like that, it really throws off the other person, because it's like, are you really sorry? Like, why are you making a joke of this? So you have to make sure you're not too casual, okay? If you're too casual, then once again, your ex isn't going to take you seriously. They probably will piss them off more, because they'll be like, okay, are you giving a real apology here? Why are you laughing? Now, I know in the moment it could be because you're nervous or something like that. So that's why make sure when you go into it, you go in prepared. You go in knowing that you're beating yourself up. You're going to get a beating from your ex. They're probably going to say some nasty things towards you, right? But once again, nasty is good because ugly is the truth, right? It needs to sound, that conversation is probably going to be one of the toughest conversations you're going to have. If it's not tough, then it's not honest and it's not going to be effective. So be prepared, and once again, you know, just keep in mind some of the points that I've mentioned, and you should do really well. You should do just fine. And you know, when you're truly sincere and it really comes across through everything, through your words, through your body language and everything, and you're also not demanding that they give you that forgive you immediately, then you'll see that your ex their attitude will change pretty quickly. They will actually start to turn it around onto the things that they could have done better, okay? And it's quite nice when you see that, when the communication starts to open up and you're both really opening up with what you're thinking, what you're all the, you know, other ugly things that you want to say to each other, and that's how you get closer to somebody, right? Okay, so that's how you get your ex to forgive you. If you'd like to know how to get your ex back, check out the link in my description. There you can take my quiz and figure out what your chances are. You'll also discover my foolproof strategy for getting your ex back. If you like this video, please remember to like, share, and comment. And also don't forget to subscribe. I release videos weekly on breakups, dating, and relationships. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.